Hello, my Cancer friends. This is Kristen Redman, Astrological Intuitive, and today we are going to talk about what is in store for the upcoming year of 2019 for you. Now, this is going to be a year that is focused primarily on three things. It's going to be focused on finances, it's going to be focused on relationships, and it's going to be focused on you and your path and your needs. So let's start it out, shall we? Let's start with money, right? Because that's what I got written here first. So that's where we're going. So what we've got going on here for our Cancer friends is a wonderful eclipse that happens January 21st. Now, this is the last of the Leo Aquarian eclipses that are going to be happening. The remainder of them are going to be centered around your sign. This is a huge shift and change that hasn't happened since 2009 for you, really bringing through new beginnings. Now, but this last one that's happening in Aquarius is going to be directly impacting your houses of finance. Eclipses bring new beginnings. So having this powerful eclipse really highlights your financial situation and brings clarity on what it is you need to do moving forward, okay? Because there's lots of opportunities to be making that money this year, but there needs to be some sort of new plan moving forward. So Mars is going to be there also, helping to bring through some energy and confidence and strength to stand up for yourself, to get that raise, to get that promotion, to really make sure that that money starts coming in. Now, not only do we have that energy that's going to be happening, we also have a Mercury retrograde period that's going to be happening in your sign in the July timeframe, July 27th. To like mid part of August is this little window here for you where there's going to be a lot of reassessment in terms of your financial situation and planning for the future moving forward and what needs to be done to make these changes really work for you on long term. So new ideas and those strategies are going to come through during that Mercury retrograde period in July. Now, let's talk about the home, okay? So, we have that planet Mars. Mars is such an amazing planet. I tell you what, it is the engine that drives us all. It gives us our confidence. It gives us the push. It gives us the ability to just go without thinking, just that innate confidence to just do it. Just get it done is what it says. And it's been stalled. All right, that's where our engine comes, like the energy for all of us comes from the engine of Mars. And Mars has been retrograded the past 2 years. When Mars retrogrades, we all slow down, but it really hit my Cancer friends really, really hard this year because it happened while the sun was in your sign. Man, there are people that are just now starting to shake off that fatigue from that retrograde. Now it's moving forward. And not only that, but it's starting out this new year in its home sign of Aries, which is amazing. That is a wonderful energy for all of us to have. But it's going to be hitting certain areas of your chart that it hasn't been for 2 years, one of which being the house of home and family. So this is really beginning a push to take charge at home, to get the things that you want. Okay, some things that you tried to initiate a couple of years ago that kind of fell by the wayside, they will get brought up again this year. So there may be conflict of sorts because you're trying to stand up for what it is you want, your wants and needs. Remember, we talked a little bit about that. Mars is going to give you that push to really stand up again and say, you know what, I'm ready for this to change. Let's make it happen. So not only that, not only will you be more outspoken about your wants and your needs with your family, you're going to really be able to ask for what it is you want. There is also another side of it too. It's not just family. This is about your physical home. So this could mean Mars going through there is really pushing you to move. Maybe you've outgrown your situation and you guys need to move. That's a possibility. Could be a time for doing some renovations as well, because Mars really gives you that energy to fix and renovate and renew that area. So that's something to look forward to as well. That happens October 4th through November 19th. that 2-year cycle hits. Now, where we have really big new beginnings thanks to these eclipses that are in your sign, okay, this is the big thing. This is huge. This started last summer. This is when the eclipse cycle switched from the Leo Aquarian axis to you. And when it does that, it's trying to bring new beginnings for you, especially that haven't been there since 2009, because that's the last time we had this cycle. And when it does, man, I tell you what, it's trying to clean up all areas of your life that just don't work anymore. And your soul knows. You're the most intuitive of the signs. Your soul knows what needs to change and what needs to go. And maybe you just don't listen to what that intuition is telling you. You've got a few things working with that this year. The Mercury retrogrades that are going to be happening in all of the water signs, which is pretty rare in itself that that's going to be happening. Really getting your mind in touch with your intuitive self, what your spirit and your heart and your emotion is telling you, as opposed to the logical mind. That's a big thing that's going to happen. We have that happening in March, again in July, and then again in October. But you also have these eclipses that are happening that are really pushing through for relationships. That's the big thing that's trying to shift and change. The eclipses in general are trying to get you to figure out what you want for new beginnings, but the main area it's impacting is the house of relationships. So that means that there needs to be a change, right? And look to what happens around you. January 6th, July 17th, and December 26th. These are the pivotal eclipses. They're like billboards from the universe that say, this needs to change here. You on planet Earth, you want to make something better. Well, this is what has to be adjusted. So look to what's happening there. But it wants to bring new beginnings in relationships, how you operate in them, and a chance for relationships that are pre-existing to really shed their old skin and work better for you. This can be part of that push of Mars helping you to stand up for yourself for what you need in your family as well. Another thing that's going with that is that Saturn, the planet that brings stability and boundaries and structures and gives the bones to these things, is going to be aligning with the North Node. That's known as our soul's purpose out there. And this is going to be directly impacting your house of relationships as well. Saturn is a 30-year cycle. North Node also is really similar. Last time it was in this area was 1999. Having the North Node going into your sign is huge. We'll talk about that in a second here because it hasn't been there for a really long time. What that combination of all of that gibberish I just said means is that it is growing and maturing you in ways in your relationship that is very needed. It's helping you to be more committed to that person that you are with, and it helps you kind of push that desire to let go of the old baggage that you're carrying around that you don't want anymore. This also includes karmic ties to other people because the North Node is very karmic based. It's very much based off of past life experiences. So in July when that eclipse hits, this is really when you're going to be feeling it the most to really shed those layers when Saturn and the North Node align. Now, like I said, Saturn really does mature you in your relationship so that you're more capable of the commitment that that partner needs. Not saying that you're immature or what have you. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that Saturn is stabilizing some things and helping you to make changes where necessary. So not only do we have a lot of that happening in, let's just talk about the North Node since we're on that same vein. So the North Node out there in the sky is our karmic lessons from previous lifetimes that we are trying to move away from this lifetime. So maybe something that was a comfort zone before, that's known as our South Node. The North Node is where we are going to in our life's purpose, this incarnation, this lifetime. Now, the North Node moves into a new sign every couple of years, but now it's moving into Cancer, and it has not been there since like 2000. So this is a nice reboot for you in terms of letting go of old karmic ties that keep you held back, old patterns that you're ready to break, and move forward into what your North Node soul's purpose is this lifetime. This is going to be a wonderful transit for you as well. With all of this other energy, how interesting is it? This also coincides with the Cancer, Capricorn solar eclipses and lunar eclipses that haven't been around since 2009 either. So a lot of new beginnings are trying to come through for you, my Cancer friends. You just have to know how to act and follow through on it, right? Following what your intuition tells you you need to do. And that's tough. It's tough for Cancer because you get in comfort zones. Okay, you are the sign that likes things exactly the same in tradition. There's nothing wrong with that, but it works against you when it's time to break out of ruts and leave something behind that doesn't work anymore. Okay, and it doesn't just not work for you, it doesn't work for the other people around you. So why stay in something that just ultimately isn't necessarily filling everybody else up, right? It's just a comfort zone you don't want to break out of. This is the energy that will push you to do that out of those comfort zones. So it's definitely a wonderful energy. That's going to be November 6th through May 5th of 2020, especially, is when that North Node is going to be staying in that sign for you. So major shifts and changes and letting go of karmic baggage as well. Now let's move to the career. Let's go there. Oh, let's go there. Let's go there. So that 10th house in astrology represents our career and what our soul's purpose is this lifetime, right? Speaking of North Node. Now that Mars that we talked about that brings energy and regeneration into it is going to be coming there January 1st through February 14th. So from New Year's until Valentine's Day, you have that planet of new energy totally enlivening that house of career for you, really pushing you to stand up for yourself to get that raise, get that promotion, maybe do something more independent on your own. The energy is there to make that happen. Okay, so say yes if an offer pops up for you in this time frame. It's more fitting, especially if it pushes you out of that comfort zone of the Cancer crab cave. Jump. Own it, because it's going to directly affect everything in your life and really propel you forward. Very lucrative offer that can come through January 26th when Mars there and Jupiter, the planet of luck, align. Keep an eye out for that really strong time frame right now for you. Now, Mercury, remember I said, I think it was in this video, it may have been in Scorpio, I don't really recall. But Mercury, the planet of the mind and how we communicate and think, is going to be retrograding 3 times this year. I just said 4. Look at that. 3 times this year. 3 times this year it is going to retrograde. And that's weird because normally it does retrograde 4 times. Not only is it only retrograding 3 times this year, it's doing so in each one of the water signs. So that's even more interesting. When Mercury, the planet of the mind and communication, retrogrades, it gives us a chance to reassess how our thought process is working, how our communication process is working. And for it to happen in these water signs, water deals with emotion, it deals with intuition, and it also deals with our spiritual connection as well as what our heart center is telling us to do. Very relationship based. So this is going to be a reassessment period of all of those. That happens in March, that happens in July, and it happens again in November when these Mercury retrograde cycles hit. Where it's going to be making an impact and having you reassess is in your 9th house. And that's an interesting house for Mercury to be retrograding. It's technically the house of the higher mind. So this may be a time when you are thinking about taking new classes or maybe taking a break from doing continued learning. Maybe this is a year you don't want to go to seminars and that's fine. You know what I mean? Because there's so much in there that's getting reset for you in terms of career that's okay. But it may also mean that there's delays because when Mercury is retrograde, it's definitely a famous time for delays to be happening. There may be delays in those travels, getting to those seminars that you're going to, or you're putting them off. But one of the main things I think out of this Mercury retrograde is to help you, my Cancer friend, to strengthen your intuition and what it tells you you need to do. Sometimes it's easy to get disconnected from that, and you need these reboots to happen, and that's exactly what is going to happen in those time frames. So don't be surprised when that happens. So let's focus on specific birthdays. Now, if your birthday doesn't fall in here, it doesn't mean any of this stuff is not going to happen. One of these things might actually sound more fitting for you and your path now. Go with it. Go with what your intuition says. But I highly recommend getting an astrological reading. I have a link below for my annual special that I do. It's a $77 special. It's the only one I run in the course of a year. To help you better understand your specific birth chart. Everything I've said now is like a horoscope on steroids that's just based off of the Cancer sun sign. You want to dive into what's more specific for you, you look at what your birth chart tells you, and we can do that. Click on the link below. I do readings in person, phone, Skype, FaceTime. I do lots of different readings for my wonderful clients. But let's focus on just a general blanket statement here. So if your birthday is July 7th through July 12th, Neptune, that planet of spirituality, is working with your Cancer sun this year. You got a watery planet of intuition working with your watery planet of intuition, and you got a huge spiritual regeneration happening this year. Definitely getting your connection strengthened with God and refilling that spiritual well, and your creative well is in addition to that. Not only does Neptune work wonders to strengthen our intuition and our connection to God and the energy and the spirits around us, but it helps us to dissolve old structures that don't work anymore. So this is definitely a year of surrendering old parts of yourself that no longer are working. I mean, it is. It's a good time to do that, especially with all this other karmic baggage malarkey that's getting let go of. Utilize this energy. If your birthday is July 13th through the 16th, Pluto out there in the sky, the planet that is the major transformer, not Transformer Optimus Prime. We're talking transformations like a caterpillar, right, going into a butterfly. That's the energy of what 2019 is meant to be for you, a year of deep transformation. So you are purging your spirit. Okay, listen to this, all right, because Pluto's an interesting planet. Pluto rules the 8th house in astrology, which is known as the dark house of interesting things that most people find they don't want to talk about. We're talking death, loss, trauma, crisis, sex, addiction. All these things fall into that sticky territory of the 8th house. Pluto rules that. So Pluto type energies, Plutonian type energies are going to be surrounding you this year. So you are going to be purging your spirit of those influences that are on their shadow sides, okay? To kind of create a clean slate for the future. Power, control, and intimacy, especially with sex, are going to come into the forefront this year, and you're going to be faced to deal with them head on. You're going to realize how they dominate certain aspects of your life, and you realize where you need to get control over them, because that's also the light side of Pluto is control, okay? And learning how to get to the bottom of these usually hidden or secret aspects of your life. Pluto is going to help you dig to that and transform it. If you're ready to do that, it's there. Okay. Now Uranus out there is going to be making an impact for our friends with July 21st through the 23rd birthdays. Uranus does one thing. It tells you to expect the unexpected. It pushes you out of that comfort zone. Oh boy. because it throws things at you like you have no control. And who knows? I can't even tell you. I'm an astrologer and I can't tell you if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad, because with Uranus, you just don't know. But no matter what it's doing, is it's pushing you out of that comfort zone and moving you into a territory that works better for who you are on your path now. Okay, so life breaks open as you realize anything is possible under this influence, and you need more personal space for your emerging individuality to flourish. So that's that. That's that, Cancer friends. And it's wonderful energy. There's so much good. There's so much good. You are going to look back 20 years from now, 5 years from now even, and go, that time frame of 2018 to 2020 was the most pivotal time in my life for recognizing what I want and getting it and making it happen. So you're in the middle of it, friend, and know that you have a spiritual network there that is specifically meant for this time in your life. Access them, utilize them. They're going to be around even stronger with those Mercury retrogrades. But know that it's all working with you. So please feel free to reach out, get a reading with me. If not, hey, it's day 2. I appreciate you watching today. Subscribe to my channel. Watch my weekly videos on what energies are happening astrologically in the skies, how they're impacting us every day. And also follow me on Facebook to get little extra spiritual tidbits. So, Cancer friend, thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed and wonderful 2019. Bye.